started on the next Meet the Masters lesson. This is going to be the fourth and final artist. This is Klee, and we're going to do the beginner lesson, so for kinder and first. And then before we get started on the actual video, I just want to say that the written lesson plan that's typically in the folders are not going to match this video. Meet the Masters has changed and updated the lesson. So I haven't the video for you, but I'm not going to have the most updated version of the lesson plan, which is fine because it's still an easy lesson. So I just wanted to let you know, and we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so we'll get started on the teaching portion of the video. I am going to actually video myself. So I'm going to prop it up, and you might see my kitchen table. It's been taken over by Legos at the moment and my seed starters for the garden. So excuse my mess, but we'll go ahead and get started. So I think you're gonna be able to see me right there. All right, so again, this is the kinder one. This one's really fun. So the only supplies you're gonna need in the drawers, you're gonna have stacks of white paper, enough for one kiddo each. You'll have Q-tips, which we'll do and use at the very end. You'll have the little plastic containers that you'll wanna fill with water at the very end as well. And then in the buckets on top, there will be two types of watercolor crowns, and either one is fine because they both work great. So we'll go ahead and get started. These are a couple of examples of what the art is gonna look like. And again, if you've read up on the Klee, the history in the folders is completely updated. That hasn't changed, so you'll learn all about him, how he enjoyed music and art. And he didn't like to follow the typical rules of art. He loved abstract work. He loved big, bright, bold colors. And he really kind of did his own thing. So that's what makes it fun, because the kiddos, they're gonna get an idea of what it's gonna look like, but then they get to create something that's gonna be all their own and completely different from anybody else. So we are gonna draw a fish for the beginner lesson. So he loved fish, and these will be in the buckets that you can show the kids as well. So the first thing, they're gonna get their white piece of paper and they're gonna set it in front of them. And then they're gonna open their boxes of the watercolor crayons. So what I like to do is take out the black and the brown for this lesson. He did not use those colors, and we are going to pick any color we want. So that's kind of the fun thing. They can pick their favorite colors and do whatever. I'm gonna start with the blue, and we're gonna start with the outline of the fish. So if we're looking at the paper this way, I'm gonna look somewhere in the middle, and we can make a little dot just for a point of reference. And then we're gonna start with the top of the fish and come down, and then we're gonna do the opposite. So we'll take our blue crayon, we'll come up and down, and we'll end right in that corner here. And now I'm gonna do the bottom part of the fish and come down and bring that part up and finish it off in that corner. So this is just gonna be a rough version of our fish. And then we're gonna do the tail. And I think we'll just do like a little scallop here and bring it down. So there's our fish. And I try to teach the kids, anytime they get a color and they're done with it, put it back in the box so that we don't lose them and we can keep track of them. And now this part is just about kind of being fun. He does something completely different. So we're gonna kind of follow his guidelines, where he likes to use different shapes and lines and really break things up more than the typical art that we've been doing this year. So we're gonna start from this corner, and we're gonna bring our crayon, we're gonna kind of make a little rainbow shape. We're gonna bring a line to the fish here. Same thing on this side. We're gonna come around and bring it right through the end. And I think we'll give him a green eyeball. And then now's the fun part of decorating. So we can maybe give him some fins up top. And then we'll give him a fin down here. And I forgot to mention really fast that also in the drawers as well, you're gonna have this sheet that talks about learning from Klee's abstraction. So talking about patterns and repeating shapes can make patterns. So this kind of gives them an idea of what they're gonna do. So now, going back to our coloring, we can give our fish some scales, and they can be big, little, however they want. And then they can go through if they want. And this one gives an example of putting a dot, so we could put some dots here. They can alternate colors. Again, this one's just kind of a freebie. It's kind of fun. They get to do something completely different. So I'm just gonna color the fish. I think I'll give his tail some more detail. And could do some purple. All right, I think that is looking pretty good. So now we've kind of got the outline of the fish. Now we get to color in. So if you've never worked with a watercolor crayons, they're really fun. So we're just gonna color them in just like we usually would with a crayon. You don't have to color it in completely. You can leave some white spots in the background. We can talk to the kids about how if you're using a lot of pressure by pressing harder with the crayon, your color is going to be darker, brighter, more bold. Same thing if you press light with your crayon, the color is going to be light. And they've heard us talk about that before this year. So we'll just get this part of our fish colored in. And then I'll come through with the tail, and I think I'll do our tail in orange here. And then you can see that I'm switching directions. And it doesn't matter because at the end, when we're done coloring and we're ready to blend, everything is going to blend quite nicely. So it doesn't matter really what direction they're coloring in. And you don't have to fill it in all the way, like I said. So you can see that there are still some pieces of white here. We'll get that colored. And as a side note, we don't want them to color the outside of the fish here. We want to leave that white because it's going to give a nice contrast with all the colors that we're using. So again, we're changing colors constantly. We're going to put our crayon back in the box when we're done with it so we can keep track of them and we don't lose them or break them. So we'll color here. I think I'll come down here with some purple. And there will be several examples in the beginner bucket that you can show to the kids. Let's get some green in here. Okay, I think he is looking pretty good. I think I'll actually come back in with some blue up here, and then this will be the last one. So again, this one's fun. It's more relaxed. They get to pick their colors. They get to color it in however they like. You can see I'm just using big strokes here just to try and fill in the area. And then when we tell them that it's time to be done coloring, we'll make sure we put our colors back in, put them in the box and set aside. Now the fun part. So we'll have the little plastic cups of water, and then they're gonna get their Q-tip, and then they're gonna tap their Q-tip in, knock off the excess water, and then we're going to turn our crayons into paint. So we'll tap the side, and we start with the lightest color first. So now we'll go over, we don't want our Q-tip down like this, we want it on the side. And we'll just go over our yellow first since it's the lightest. And then you can see where the areas that we didn't color in completely, it's just blending and turning into paint. So you don't have to be super precise. We don't want so much water, and we don't want them to press so hard because it will tear their paper. So I think that's our yellow. Now we'll go with our orange. And then you can see that we have different colors on our Q-tip. So that's why we want to go with the lightest to the darkest. And then we'll just color along with our Q-tip now and help everything to blend in. Remember, not too much water. All right, I think that's looking pretty good. And then we'll go tap in and we'll go to our red. And then they have the option with their scales, they can leave them just like they are, or they can go over them with their Q-tip, and you see it turns into like a watercolor. Now I'm gonna switch, I'm gonna flip it over. Now that I'm gonna do even darker colors, I'm gonna tap it in. And I think I'll start with a green. There's just a small amount of green here. And then we'll go to the blue. Tap again, knock off the excess. We'll come over here. All right. He's a bright, pretty fish. Now I think we'll do a purple. And you can see we have the blue that was on the Q-tip, and now it's coming to the purple, so it just kind of shades it. Gives it a little bit unique characteristic. They can go over the purple if they like here. And I think he's a pretty good looking fish. Oop, there's our green eyeball. We can color that in if we like. And that's it. That is the kindergarten lesson. So I hope you guys like it. If you have any questions, just let me know. Thanks so much. And one more thing that I just forgot to mention, if they have time and if they want, I'll go ahead and put some construction paper in there as well. And they can just glue on their picture just to give it a nice frame and help bring out their colors that they did. So they'll just glue that on, and then as always, they'll glue on the artist sheet on the back and make sure they put their name on it, and then the teachers can display them if they like, or they can take them home the same day just to show their parents. Okay, that's it. Thanks a lot.